Saludos Amigos to me is an interesting film. I didn't hate it, but my honest thoughts were that it's pretty problematic. It goes off the rails, and I have no idea why they thought a film with no plot was a good idea. There are good segments, most notably the one about the baby plane that's going on a mail trip for his parents who are sick. I think that's a really sweet sort, and I really like that. And there's some other little bits in here, but honestly, the entire film is pretty just problematic, random, and boring. I mean, the whole crux of the feature, the whole narrative backbone, is the Disney animators going to Latin America. And they just made a movie about their Latin America experiences. This is the kind of thing that if they did it nowadays, it would be on Disney+. It would not be a theatrical adventure, but it was a theatrical adventure. And I don't think it's very good. There are fun moments, but I honestly would not choose to watch this film over really anything else that I can think of. Maybe I would for the goofy segment, because, when he's a cowboy, that's kind of fun. But, just overall, it's so dull, it's so boring. Like, the animation looks good. But the other point is there's nothing being done, really, with the animation. Sure, it's cool techniques, it's animation, it looks pretty, but there's no narrative purpose for it. It's just kind of like, we're making an animated film because we need to pay people. And if you look at it in that perspective, you can definitely appreciate it, because without this film and the others, there would be no Disney company nowadays. But, like I said, this film really does have some issues, and I don't really like it that much. I'd honestly give it 2 out of 5 stars, and a very low rating. In all honesty, I would have to give Saludos Amigos a 5 out of 10, because it's at the halfway mark. There's things in it that are interesting, but honestly, this was me being kind of generous looking at it. Like, did I really like it that much? Honestly, I could probably put it a lot lower. I just don't think Saludos Amigos is very good. In 1944, the Three Caballeros would release, and this is by far the worst film of the wartime era. This film is problematic for so many reasons. Number one, the racist stereotypes. And not only that, the third act is basically Donald Duck going after women. I'm not exactly kidding. If he's not chasing them, he's dreaming about them, and it was 1944, so things were different then, but nowadays, it just looks really bad, and even back then, I'm sure people are like, why the heck is this being put in theaters? This is really boring. This is not a good film. I'm gonna be very short with this one. This film I do not care about. I do not think this film deserves any praise, really. I mean, there's some nice animation, but it's terrible. It's a terrible film overall. My final ranking for this film is a 3 out of 10, or if you want to put it into stars, it would honestly be 1 out of 5 stars. Alright, and continuing onwards with 1946's Make Mine Music, the third package feature of the wartime era. And I'm gonna be honest, I really enjoyed Make Mine Music. I hadn't seen it before, I don't think. If I had, it was when I was very little. And so, watching it for the first time, I didn't really know what to expect. But I have to say, there were some really enjoyable segments in it. I actually really enjoyed this movie. Now, there were a couple that were a bit boring for me. The baseball one, I didn't really get the full plot of it. It just kind of felt like padding. All the cats join in, I thought was literally a musical number about cats, so that was kind of surprising that it was not cats, in fact. It was just the name of people, but, whatever. Um, but the two shorts that stuck out to me the most with Make Mine Music were Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet, along with the finale, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet is basically a love story about two hats that fall in love in a department store in New York City, and it's honestly pretty random. Um, but that's what I kind of like about it. Like, it's kind of an absurd concept, but it's a cute little short. They very much give it some care and attention, and it is a cute little love story. The lyrics and the song, it's all done basically to the song. Like, the song's written for the piece, and I think that helps it kind of work. It doesn't come off as too corny because it's made for the piece itself. And I really liked it. I thought it was cute. I think it was my favorite segment from this, if not the finale. Really goes between these two shorts, but I really did enjoy this one. But of course, as I've been alluding to, they also had the finale, which was entitled The Whale Who Wanted to Sing at the Met. And honestly, this is kind of a dark short, because the whole premise is about a whale that wanted to sing and is basically killed. He's dreaming about singing his whole life. He gets an opportunity. The sailors don't know what they're doing, or they don't care, and they kill the whale. And he's still singing in heaven. It's a very random short. Definitely a darker turn than I would have expected from Disney. But I think I kind of like that about it, that it was just something different, and they don't normally have an ending like that. They always try and make things a complete happy ending, where this one they're just kind of like, well, we're going to do whatever the heck we want. And I did enjoy it. I thought it was cute. I thought it was very fun. At least, nice opera music. But I don't think I would say it's anything too over-the-top memorable. I definitely see why some people think it's a pretty dark short. But also, I would still say Make Mine Music isn't a great film. This is definitely not going back to the roots of Disney animation. But overall, I give Make Mine Music a 7 out of 10. Alright, so for these next two features, I kind of forgot to actually put a actual out of 10 score, but I'm just going to kind of talk about them and instead give my rating in terms of stars. So first we have Fun and Fancy Free from 1947. Fun and Fancy Free, I think, is a fun movie. It's smaller than Make Mine Music, and it's smaller than some of these other features, as it's only two shorts, which would become a pattern that Disney would repeat later on, but it's two shorts. One is Bongo, and one is Mickey and the Beanstalk. I clearly think that Mickey and the Beanstalk is the better short out of the two, but I would also argue that Bongo is still a really charming short. It's a fun little cartoon. It's got a sweet story. It really just kind of comes apart with how long of a short it is. We go from it just being a love story to having a whole song about bears slapping each other to having this rivalry between bears. I don't like it that much after the point where they start to do all that stuff. I mean, I still like it, but I think it kind of just loses its charm because it's going on way too long. Now, Mickey and the Beanstalk, I think, is a great short. You've got Mickey Mouse, you've got Donald, Goofy, you've got some dark moments in this, you've got some fantasy. It's a fun cartoon, and I would say it's definitely the better of the two shorts. It's Mickey Mouse in the spotlight again, it's an adventure, and I do think, like I said, it's a fairy tale and it's a lot of fun. I do think the weakest part of this film is all the in-between stuff. I don't care about it. I don't want the beginning, the end, or the middle, really. I mean, the beginning's fine, but, everything kind of takes a little bit too long, or it's just not that interesting. It's just kind of bookending the whole thing. But I did enjoy Fun and Fancy Free, and I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars, which would probably equate to, I don't know how much, but let's just say a 7 out of 10. And honestly, I did kind of enjoy it that much, but I wouldn't call it a 10 out of 10 film. Alright, so Melody Time is another short, or a package feature that released. This one released, I believe, in 1948. And this would be the second to last of these package features from the Wartime era. And I actually really enjoyed Melody Time. There were a lot of shorts in here that I actually really liked. There were, I believe, 7 in total. And I'm kind of going to go through all of them because all of them I did really enjoy to some degree, except for maybe 1 or 2 that I will speak about minimally. Once Upon a Winter Time is kind of like just a love story during the winter. I think my biggest issue with it is the runtime. I kind of like the shorts that are shorter, that's what I expect, that have a tighter narrative and something just short and sweet. But this one went a little bit long, but I still thought it was cute and beautiful. The animation was nice. The next one was Bumble Boogie, and this is literally about a bee, a nightmare for a solitary bee trying to escape from a visual and musical frenzy. And it is, you know, a really fun short. It is pretty wild. But like I said, I did enjoy it. It's music. It's what I think Disney does best, putting music to animation. You also have The Legend of Johnny Appleseed, which I actually do like this short for a couple reasons. One, I think it's a really nice short, and for another, I think it's also got a lot of Christian themes in it, which I am a Christian. I don't know if it's Christian or what they were going for, but I did appreciate that they had something in there. Johnny Appleseed cared about his Bible, he cared about doing the work, and part of the reason he's willing to go to heaven is because he can go plant trees in heaven, which is, you know, a little bit funny, but it's also like he wants to keep planting trees, and it's, you know, a sweet story. So I did really like that one as well. Little 2 was kind of like the one about the plane from, I believe, Make My Music. Only issue with this one is I felt like this could have ended on a somber note, because the little boat did some bad things, and then, oh no, he's fine at the end, he ends up saving the day, which is, I guess, a happy ending, but I don't know, I would have liked it to be a darker ending. I'm not a really dark, cynical person, I just kind of like it when Disney does something that's outside of the box, and I kind of thought they were going to go that direction, because it did get pretty dark for a minute, but then they just kind of go back to, oh, he ends up saving the day, and it's pretty cliche and predictable. Alright, and then we have Trees, which, according to the Wiki Disney fandom that I'm on, I'm just going to quote what it says. Trees is a reciting of the famous Alfred Joyce Kilmer poem by Fred Waring and the Pennsylvania, with the lyrical setting seen through the seasons. I don't remember this one too much, but it did exist. There's also Blame It on the Samba, which is the worst short out of all these for its racist stereotypes and just going back to what I hated about the Three Caballeros and just kind of being boring and dull and, yeah, not really great in the modern day, especially. And then you have Pecos Bill. It is about Roy Rogers and the Sons of the Pioneers. It's basically the finale, and it's about this guy on his horse Widowmaker, and it's a really insane short. I actually wrote in my initial review that I posted online, what the heck were the last 30 minutes, because this film really just goes off the rails. It's a pretty long short, but I do really enjoy it. It has been edited a bit for the cigarettes and stuff like that, but, you know, this was the 1940s when you could do stuff like that in a kid's film, and I totally see why they would edit it nowadays. But I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. Overall, I think I'm going to give Melody Time a 9 out of 10, and that's the highest score that I've given so far, because I did really appreciate this one. I did actually feel like all the shorts were pretty fun and entertaining. I had positives with each of them. My biggest issue was the Blame It on the Samba and some of the runtime of the shorts. But I think overall I did really enjoy the feature, and I thought it was a good, you know, going back to kind of Make My Music, going back to kind of Fantasia, and I don't really mind the idea of mixing narrative shorts with music shorts. I think it was fun, and I did really enjoy it.
Icabod and Mr. Toad.
The Adventures of Icabod and Mr.Toad is the final one of these features. Releasing in 1949, it would be the final package feature during the wartime era, and it would also be another one that was like Fun and Fancy Free, where instead of multiple shorts, it was two. You have one short that is definitely a lighter, more kid-friendly tone, and then a second short that definitely has a darker, more mysterious horror atmosphere. And I'm going to be reviewing both of them, as I do actually like both of the shorts for different reasons. But Icabod and Mr.Toad on its own, it doesn't really take that much time getting to the point. It's a lot shorter than Fun and Fancy Free, where you have a whole 10-minute segment kind of thing. It's like, nope, here's the story. Okay, ended one, here's a little, like, 2-minute intermission, and then here's the next one. But the short that I actually went away liking the most was actually The Wind in the Willows, because it felt more entertaining. I liked that it actually had a kind of clear narrative. It was about Mr. Toad, the kind of guy who commits a lot of crimes. He's a frog, he does weird things, like driving race cars. There's a lot of weirdness and wackiness to it, but it definitely fits the mold of being a Disney short. And I think it's the more fun one. I think it's honestly the one that kids will have a lot more fun with. I enjoyed it. I like the animation. Kind of goes off the rails. You have an entire chase sequence. You have the Toad going to prison. It is very insane. It is very crazy. But I liked it. And then for The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, a lot of people say this is the better short. It probably is, but I actually prefer the other one more. Because with Icabod and Mr. Toad, it feels like a lot of just, oh, Icabod being a jerk, oh, Icabod going after this girl, and this other guy going after them. And then, you have... And to be clear, it's, love story, but it's also kind of a jealousy thing. Like, there's a story in there, and maybe the moral is don't be a jealous, greedy person, or you'll get justice. I don't know if that's what they were going for. Clearly, the last 7 minutes are the best part of the short with the Icabod and Headless Horseman sequence. The last 7 minutes, really. But I think everything up to that point feels like kind of stalling for the big grand finale. But I would say that it ends this era of Disney animation on an alright note. It definitely shows that they needed to innovate and do something different, but it isn't the bottom of the barrel like some of the earlier short features. I did like both of these, but I wouldn't say that overall it is a great use of your time. If you're going through the Disney animated films like I am, I would watch this. If you're not, I wouldn't bother with it unless you're interested. But I think overall that I would give Disney's final feature of the wartime era a 6 out of 10. Icabod and Mr. Toad never goes to the heights of some of the other features, or the lows of some of the other features, but it's an alright in-between that has two fun cartoons, with one that gives a grand slam finale. Anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you all for watching. I hope you got a good perspective on all 6 of these feature films. I would watch them if you're going through the animation catalog, but like I said, you can really kind of watch these reviews and decide for yourself which are worth your time. I will warn you that Make My Music is the only one not on Disney Plus, but all the other ones you can easily find on there if you have a Disney Plus subscription. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will be back soon when we dive into the Silver Age of Walt Disney feature animation with 1950s Cinderella. Bye, guys!